it started a few years ago. We had started in Toronto, myself and Jimmy Ferguson. I was 16 and he was about 23. We started playing strictly on weekends around the folk clubs, and it was great because he could buy cigarettes and beer. So it was wonderful, and we thought this might last for a year or so if we were very careful. So we did that for about a year, and the band progressed from there. Other people joined us. My cousin Joe came out from Ireland and joined us, and we met up with my brother Will out in Alberta. And from there, we just kept going. And year by year, we said, we'll give it one more year and see how it goes. And after 50 years, we're still saying the same thing. So you never know.
1963 is when the group founded. Why do you think people still love the Irish Rovers?
I think it's probably the innocence of the songs. The Unicorn, of course, was a nice little song that you can hear in churches or you can hear in bars across Canada and America. So I think Irish music in general, Celtic music, is just a good upbeat sort of a music. And even if we're singing about some sad thing that happened in 1798, the tune is so lively and upbeat that people probably don't understand what we're singing about anyway. They just enjoy the music. And I think that's the secret.
Unicorn was one of your big hits. Wasn't that a party? I mean, we still get requests for that song. Love that song, by the way. What was it like recording those songs? And tell us about how the concept of those songs came about.
Well, the Unicorn was recorded as a last song on an album. We had been hired by Decca Records to sing, to record an Irish drinking song album, which we did. And it sold all of about 10,000 copies in California. And we thought, that's the end of that. But they came back about 2 months later and said, we loved that album, we want another one. So we did another album of sort of drinking songs, and at the last minute the producer said, okay, if you got something different that might work on this album. So we said, well, we have this little song that when we sing it in the clubs and all, everybody stops whatever they're doing and listens. So he said, all right, we'll record it tomorrow morning. So we came in the next morning, and there is sitting Glenn Campbell. I was going to play lead guitar on this, which was wonderful, which he did. And it was his last session he ever played before he released Gentle on My Mind, which became a giant hit for him. So to this day, he calls us his lucky band because we were the last ones he ever played with. So it wasn't that a party was a similar thing. We were once again doing more of an Irish album, and the producer said, what else do you have in your bag? And Tom Paxton had just written this song for us because he was a friend of ours and had come to some parties with us, and we didn't think much of he sang it as a waltz. So we sang it to Jack Richardson, who did the Guess Who, and he said, all right, now put one of those old, he knows that I like old rock and roll. He said, now put a Buddy Holly sort of a beat behind that and see what you have. So that's how Wasn't That a Party came about. And the other one that people like and ask for is Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. And we had heard that recorded about 30 years earlier in North Dakota. So we had remembered the song as being sort of a nice, funny little Christmas song. So that one was also one of those strange songs that you either like or you don't like. There's no happy in between. So that's the way our recording history has sort of gone over the years.
We got George Miller from the Irish Rovers on the show this afternoon. George, you were just touching on Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer. Mm-hmm. So many people have tried covering that song, but there is nothing like the Irish Rovers version.
Well, I think once again we're a happy band, and we don't try to do stuff that we really can't do on stage. So if you go back and listen to most of our songs, they're not terribly overproduced, and Grandma was like that. It was just us in the studio recording it, and it just came off that way, and that's exactly the same way we do it on stage during the winter shows. And back in the days of the Unicorn, it hit the rock and roll charts right beside the Beatles, and it was between the Beatles and Strawberry Alarm Clock. And here's this little song with just the two guitars, myself and Glenn Campbell, harmonica and a bass. And that's all that was on that song. There was no drums, there was no strings. So maybe the simplicity is what maybe sold all of those songs. I don't know.
Let's go back to 1971, George, quickly, about your TV show back then called The Irish Rovers. So many huge names took part on that show.
That's probably the memories that I will have until till the end of my days, is people like Johnny Cash and Bobby Darin came on the show, and it was his last show. He passed away soon afterwards. And to have Johnny Cash, and I also met Carl Perkins, who was on playing with him at the time as the Tennessee Three. So he had brought his whole family on. So, and he did 2 or 3 shows with us, and you never forget things like that. Roger Miller came on, and unbeknownst to us, we ended up by him playing the fiddle with some Irish tunes with us. Nobody knew he could play the fiddle, and yet he was a great fiddle player. So those type of names, you just Waylon Jennings was on. We had a lot of the country artists, and one of our all-time favorites in Ireland, of course, was Lonnie Donegan. He was as big as the Beatles in the late 50s all over Europe. Lonnie Donegan was the huge king of skiffle music, and he did about 5 of our shows, and it was wonderful to have all these people on, and they were all, the thing about them is we had no trouble with any of them. They were all regular people. Once you get them away from their managers and agents, they're like everybody else, and they'll do whatever you like. We would say, do you want to sing this song with us? And they said, we'll sing whatever you like with you. So that's the way it went in those days, and it was a wonderful experience, which I'll never forget.
You're playing 2 shows, first one last night at Festival Place in Sherwood Park. How did that go? It was
sold out, and the audience were jumping. I was saying, what have these people taken on a Tuesday night? Because usually you think maybe Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they're a wee bit, as they say in the business, they're maybe sitting on their hands. That means they're not clapping and cheering. But these people were, right from the get-go, they were mad. They were great, and it couldn't have asked for better. And we have another sold-out show today to do, and then we trek off to the wilds of Fort St. John for a couple of days, and then we come back into this area again. So it's all working nicely, and you know, there's not too many bands in the world that can go on for 50 years without the fans. And of course, it's the fans that have kept the Irish Rovers going, and we're blessed because we can do what we like on stage, we can sing the songs we like to do, and we actually get paid at the end of the day. So it's what a wonderful job.
George Miller of the Irish Rovers, such an honor talking to you this afternoon. Appreciate it.
Jeremy, I appreciate your time too, and all the best to you and your listeners, and hope they'll all meet someday.